Like, so what I wanted to do tonight, Glenn, I wanted to try and like, because I went from Phil, didn't I, the other day? I went seeing Phil's fish room. Phil's gone from like, started out with the tank, he had his angels, his discus, everything started breeding. We set up
Yep.
another tank and then set up a fish room. And now he's at the point where he's like, I've got all the connections. I could start a shop, but I'd have to
Yep.
start it from home. So
Yep.
everyone knows it's a journey. You start building up your contacts, you build a journey. So like it's a journey. Like you can't just go from like nothing to having a shop. You need the connections if it's gonna work. So I wanted to like talk about the business side of things and
Yep.
how we got from Glenn the hobbyist to Glenn the business owner. Do you know what I mean? And so people are
Okay.
aware of the journey of what that takes. And it's not like there's a saying in the hobby, isn't it? That like it's easy to make a grand in the hobby. You just have to buy 2 grand's worth of stuff to sell.
It's not wrong either.
Uh,
So,
so let's say,
yeah, go on then.
I'm not seeing any chat. Is there like any chat your end? Because like
Uh,
I've noticed when I've been on people's lives. Let's see if I can
I
get
haven't
top
seen
chat,
any.
live chat. No, like they're both blank. So
So,
let me hit you off with
one
your first
watching.
question, Glenn.
Yep.
So why did you decide to start the business? What was the moment and that where you thought, I'm gonna go for this? Like I'm
Okay.
doing it.
So, there was a couple of things really. So, at the time, I'd got a couple of racks in the house, getting earache all the time from the missus to move it into here. So, I'd sort of planned to turn my garage into my shrimp room.
Yeah,
And I'm doing shrimp room because obviously it's not just shrimp in here that I keep. And so that was sort of one of the key factors. The other one was we were chatting about, so myself and another couple of people, Rob was one of them, were chatting about if you could set up a business, what would you call it? And my initials are GB. My name's Glenn, my son's name Ben, and obviously I keep B shrimp. So
yeah,
GB shrimp as an idea formed. I bought a website. So my background is IT. I do project management, software implementation, stuff like that. And at the time I was working, I'd got a good amount of disposable income,
yeah,
and I decided to register as a company. Whether it sort of went anywhere or what was sort of irrelevant, but in my mind, it was. I thought, we'll set up this company, we'll do an online shop. I knew a couple of people who I could buy products off at a trade price. I'd already spoken to those, and there were products that I bought, so it was a particular brand, and I could get other bits from here, there, and everywhere at the right money if I bought in bulk. But the primary reason for me setting up the business, there was two really. One was sort of a pension fund, or
right,
when I retired or come to retirement, I'd got something to sort of continue to work with. The
yeah,
main reason was I wanted to teach my son all aspects of business because I go out into businesses. I was going out into businesses and looking at all aspects of those businesses, from procurement to stock control to sales to invoicing to account. The whole sort of shebang. It was a brilliant idea, or so I thought, to teach my son everything I needed to about business. The irony is, it didn't get involved. He weren't interested. He didn't want to know. So I sort of run the business and worked. Lost my job in January 23. Got ill pretty soon after, and decided that I just couldn't work. And anyone that follows my channel know that I have sort of good and bad days, and they see me on live standing up and sitting down. And I've got problems with my back. I get bad days and good days, but nowhere near enough to go back to work. So what I've had to do, so that was sort of the start of the business. Built the website myself. Um, I've had to change from being, if I need stuff, I can throw my own money at the business, director's loan, to a cash flow model, and if I haven't got the cash, can't buy it. It was as simple as that. We'll probably get onto this, but I pumped quite a bit of my own money into the business. If I was still working, I'd still be pumping loads of my money into the business, you know. But
Yeah.
primarily, I suppose, setting up the business was, I've done a lot of things in life sort of similar. You know, if I get into something, it needs to have an outlet to cover its own costs, if that makes sense. And the
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
I set it up as a limited company was because if my lad had took over and anything ever happened to me, being limited, you know, whatever business decisions he'd have made, whether he'd gone for credit or you know, and the business failed, they could never take the property away from him. So
No.
that was sort of the reason why I set up limited and stuff. And we've literally on the first, well, we set the business up on the 1st of August 2022. So we've literally just completed our second financial year. I'm just doing sort of year-end accounts. I'm waiting for one tax document from WooCommerce.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's sort of why I set the business up. And then sort of linked to that, the YouTube channel was, I wanted a way of documenting a bare garage into what you can see behind me. And
Yeah.
that was all it was ever going to be. And I enjoyed it, and it just started to grow from there, really.
Right. Because
So
it is
that's my
interesting, isn't it?
reasons.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, like watching people start. Like, there's a few channels I've seen them where they've started with like a garage or like a shed or something like an outhouse, and they've built like a fish room, fish house, or like their own business from just their own property. And I found it fascinating watching the journey. I watched AG Tropicals did it for a while. They started off in the basement breeding fish, and then they got a
Yeah.
shop, and then the next minute they just disappeared, and then they come back a few years later and said it all gone wrong. Guys, if
See,
there's
I
anyone
was
in the chat chatting, I can't see it. I don't know whether anyone is, but there's nothing there. So, but I've noticed on a few chats that chat's been freezing lately. So I don't know whether it's just people
I
aren't
was going to
chatting
say,
or
we are live, aren't we? So yeah, we
yeah,
look.
yeah.
To be
7.5 minutes
honest,
in.
I have looked at premises, because this is at home. I've got realistically very low overheads, and I didn't want to go. If you saw even barren town centres, if you saw the rents, the reason they're barren is because a little corner shop is like 30 grand a month. 30
Yeah,
grand a month. So you've
I
got to
went to have
probably
a look
sell
at the
100
shop.
grand worth of products. I mean, this is a high street, you know, but landlords are just greedy. I'd do, if I was
Yeah,
going to do it, I'd buy a unit.
yeah. I what you call it? Like I put a video out probably a year, 18 months ago, where I just got over COVID, and some lad phoned me up, and he'd started the shop that year around the corner, and like he just sent me a message out the blue saying the shop's yours for 10 grand. So I was like, okay, well I'll come and see you. Like, and I had 10 grand in my pocket. It's not like in cash, but like readily available on cards. I could have put it straight through his machine. So I
Yeah,
was like, what am I getting for me 10 grand? Like, and he's like, well, I'll sell all the stock off, and I'll get someone to collect all the tanks. And I was like, so I'm not getting anything for 10 grand. I'm just taking over your rent for 10 grand, yeah.
but
But I'd gone to have a look at another premises beforehand. I thought, what I'll do is I'll preempt it. So if I buy it, I'll just relocate because the shop was on a corner of a main
yeah,
road, and there was another fish shop around the corner. So like loads of my mates had said to me, "Call Keith." I went to go to that shop, and there was nowhere to park, so I just went around the bend to the other shop.
yeah. See,
So I was literally going to pick the business up and put it there. But when he said, like, you're not getting anything for the money, I was like, no,
what's the
I'm
point?
not buying. I'm not buying your debt off you for 10 grand. But when I went to look at this
It's a,
shop, it only had enough tank space for what you've got there, and then maybe enough, like, to be a bit more walkway in the middle. And it was like
yeah,
1,500 quid a month, and then the business rates doubled that. And then there's
yeah.
gas and electric, which I calculated at about like 3 grand a month in the winter. And I thought, stop this, like all
It
these for
depends. It depends what you're keeping and what you. So I had a friend who's he rented a unit, 6 grand a year the unit, and obviously you got your business rates and your facilities and your, you know, your services on top of that, and
yeah,
it sort of near where it's close to where they've just redeveloped sort of a big massive co-op supermarket. So there's loads of sort of retail outlets by there, but it's just out of the way, and probably parking for 3 or 4 cars. And it's like a workshop unit, you know, where you'd find a woodworking shop or a leather upholsterer or something like that.
Like a sole trader who needs a unit kind of thing, isn't it? We've got
Yeah,
them.
there was a way around. It's not a retail unit, but
No.
I know there's potential ways around that, because you start a club and everyone's
Yeah.
got a membership. It's what Matalan used to do. That's why you always had to have a Matalan card, because they could put stuff on industrial estates, and it's not retail, so you don't have to change use.
Hi, mate. You okay? Yes, Lewis from Urban Urban
Hi,
Exotics. Sorry. How are we,
hi,
mate?
Lou.
You okay? Lewis is a cracking lad. He lives up like round the corner from here. I think up the other end of the other side of Liverpool.
So, but
So,
even at £6,000 a year, to sort of kit it out and stock it,
yeah,
because no one's going to give you stock on tick, even a bricks and mortar, until you've been going and you've built up that
no,
relationship. To even contemplate kitting it out and stocking, I estimated around 30k.
yeah, I've
So
run
you'd want
numbers
to pay
myself.
a year's rent up
Yeah,
front, your rate. So just that first year is 40k. So you've got to make profit in excess of £800 a week without a wage.
yeah.
And at that point, it just wasn't viable for me. It is, but it's got dart frogs in.
He's
I've
banging
got
to
2
his
dart frog tanks. Eagle eyes that.
Lewis is banging to his reptiles. Right, so talk me through the startup, the livestock, and the stocking. Where did you start? And
So
um,
I'd obviously got all
what were
my
your
own
plans?
tanks and stuff. We
Yeah.
started moving those in, and I put a couple of grand order in for Quadrop products, because
Oh,
that's all I knew, right?
right. Okay.
Jacob, who was here last week actually, so I've got a video coming out with Jacob, who's the UK distributor for Quadrop, and he came down to see me, and we had a good laugh. The video was quite funny. Me and him just having a bit of banter, pulling faces at the camera. But so I started with Jacob, bought a lot of stuff off him. I got various other bits and pieces, sort of not necessarily trade, but I'd buy stuff in bulk. So I put an order in with a guy who was recommended for cholla. So
The elements.
$600 worth of cholla, guy from New
Oh,
Mexico, cholla wood, and
wow.
I knew I'd have to pay the import duty on it because of the product type that it was, and he ripped me off.
Wow.
So I think my first order was $600. Never seen a dime of it. Skanked me.
Easy.
I,
So,
I even phoned his bank up in the States that I'd paid the money into,
yeah.
and kicked off with his bank.
What did the bank say?
They said, we'll look into it and get him to contact you. Nothing.
Oh, right, great. Oh,
I
why would he got no incentive to contact you, has he?
my sort of argument was with them was that you come across as sort of a family orientated bank with all these
Yeah,
family values, and you've got people ripping people off on your books, like, you know what I mean. But
yeah.
I could have took him to court, so I could have actually done a small claims in the States from here.
Wow.
Live and learn. It's just one of them.
Yeah, but the states judicial system's a bit crazy, isn't it, compared to ours? Ours is quite straightforward by
And
comparison, I
then
think.
I found some suppliers for botanicals and stuff. I was bringing in botanicals from places around the world, and I'd pretty much got everything that you potentially need for shrimp. So I
Yeah,
could have just stuck with those products. I wanted to to work with other wholesalers that had certain criteria that I couldn't meet. So I emailed them and asked the question, and they said, "Well, you can't because of this." And I went, "Well, what if I do this or what if I do that?" And stuff like that. So you know, you start off where you pay for your goods before they're dispatched.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Some people just wouldn't have anything to do with me at all because it wasn't bricks and mortar. So that became a challenge, and sort of gradually I built up relationships with some of my suppliers. Some are in the UK, some are out of the UK, and I've just found little niche suppliers across Europe that are prepared to deal with me. You know, you start. I mean, I'm one of those people. If I haven't got the money to pay for it, I don't buy it. But I have got credit accounts. But the minute I get an invoice, it's paid. I won't even order it because I don't want to get into a position where I'm struggling, and I can't support that myself.
That's when you stop sleeping at night, that isn't it? When you start getting into debt with.
I don't sleep
business.
at night anyway.
No, but like metaphorically, I mean that's like
Yeah, it's right. Yeah.
when the real stress starts.
So everything in here is paid for. There isn't
Yeah.
a thing in here that's not paid for.
No, I remember when I was talking about that shop I was looking at then. I contacted a few suppliers. I was like, right, okay, so what's the score? Can I get a price list? And they were like, no, you need to have a pet license. And I was like, okay, so I need to get a premises to get a pet license. And they were like, yeah. And I said, so I need a loan to get a premises. Yeah. Well, I need a business plan to get a loan to get a license and a shop
Yeah.
before you'll give me a price list. And they were like, yeah. And I said, well, I can't do a business plan if I don't know how much things cost. Because the first thing the bank's going to ask me is how much do you need and what's that going
What's
to
your
go on?
forecast? Yeah. What's your business
And they were
plan?
like,
What's your forecast? Yeah.
and they were like, that's not a problem. And I was
You
like,
don't you don't have to have a shop to get a pet shop license.
no. I
I
know
could
people
go,
who've got them.
I could go for
Yeah.
one in here.
Yeah.
You have to meet certain criteria and you have to pay for that license. But it's anything with a backbone, and I don't sell anything with a backbone.
Well, Glenn's your man if you need info on keeping shrimp, Lewis.
Depends which shrimp.
I think he had Neos last time I spoke to him.
Depends
So,
how hard the water is.
so locating on bricks and mortar supplies, Glenn, what's the score with them?
To be honest, I just sort of pretty much emailed people, contacted people, messaged people on Facebook, asked them to call me, have a chat. Said, look, I understand that you might only provide, supply bricks and mortar, but how is anyone supposed to grow to a point where they need bricks and mortar if you're not helping them to grow? And
that was my argument, to be honest, Glenn. I
think
felt really.
I think my first wholesaler said to me, we take we treat every case independently. We'll look at each case individually. And I spoke to sales directors and they want to get to know you, a bit about you, stuff like that. And then other ones. So at the moment, I've got accounts that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got about 6 or 7 trade suppliers of various different things, both in the UK and outside of the UK. And it was just, I think it's just carefully worded emails and trying to put their mind at rest, And I've never once asked for a credit account ever.
No.
I've been given them after months of dealing with people and never being a problem and stuff like that. My very first, not the very first supplier, the one who I didn't think I'd get an account with, They still haven't given me a credit account, and I keep moaning at them, saying I've been dealing with you for the best part of 2 years. I always pay my bills on time. You've never had a problem with me, but your website's pants, and I order stuff and it don't come, and then I'm in credit, and my payment out of the bank doesn't match the invoice that's coming to it, and my accountant's doing his nuts. I've got to sort of try and write all about it, and I says, can't you give me a 1-day account? And what we did was we agreed they've got a minimum order, which is it's not a hurdle, but it's quite a big minimum order.
Right. Okay.
And most of the time, I don't want to spend that many hundreds of pounds on their products. So I had a conversation with them recently, and we worked out another way. So I don't have to hit that order, but I might need to pay for DPD or something to deliver stuff, which I'm happy to do that if I only want a couple of £100 worth of stuff. But what they've done is they've got a note on my file before it's dispatched to send me an invoice, and I'll pay the invoice. So the invoice is always banged on like accounts, man.
That's a good idea, though. Actually, let me just catch up with the chat line. So Rebecca's in the chat. Good evening, Rebecca. Melvin's in the chat. Evening, Melvin. And the gaffer Jeff Pelham's in the chat. Evening.
Hi, Jeff. Melvin. Rebecca.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. They don't mind sending big YouTubers stuff and nothing. Oh, big fish lads in the chat. Good evening, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, I find some of these companies don't mind sending big YouTubers stuff and nothing, but actually running a business through them when that's supposed to be the sole purpose is an absolute headache. So
yeah. Finding suppliers has been challenging, and I suppose one of my biggest challenges is finding suppliers that will help you compete with other online people that use them as well. And they're selling stuff cheaper than I can buy it off that supplier. That same supplier.
Yeah.
But that competitors are selling stuff cheaper than I can buy it for.
Well, that's the thing I keep saying to everyone. Like, my local fish shop said to me, he could pay someone in Poland to walk into a fish shop and buy stuff, ship it over to the UK.
Cheaper than he can buy it in the UK.
Cheaper than he can get a wholesale in the UK. He said they still make more profit doing that.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's great. And then he phoned the supplier and was like, well, how does this work? And well, people in the UK were prepared to pay more. And he said, yeah, just because they can't doesn't mean they have to. Like, how does that work? Like, it just... Buy up. Yeah.
I wouldn't sell buy up.
Right, this is the question I'm excited to ask you, Glenn, because like this fascinates me, this question. So talk me through advertising and marketing. Like, I love all that stuff.
This is
probably like aquatics.
So this is probably one of my most difficult things, and it's one of the reasons I stayed with YouTube, because from an accounting perspective, any money that I spend from the business on anything to do with the YouTube channel is marketing. So that sort of helps if you're making money in the first place. Do you know what I mean? So my website links to Facebook, although Facebook is brutal. So I've got product listings that can be found in Facebook shops, but an example is, and they're very Nazi. Facebook are in. I had a product called Bioimmuno, or Bioenzyme, and it's a shrimp-based product, and it's an enzyme that goes in the tank, helps to break stuff down, improves the gut health of the shrimp, stuff like that. And it got rejected, so it's linked through my website. I've got sort of plugins in my website that automatically update that. And what they rejected it. So you get to appeal. So I've appealed. Look, it's not, and they rejected it because it was a health product.
It's
That's
not.
why they rejected it, and you're not allowed to sell health products. So I explained to them, and I'm sure it's a bot, but I explained to them that it's not health, it's for ornamental shrimp in an aquarium, blah, blah, blah. Rejected with no chance of appeal. You only
That's
get one
ridiculous.
shot, and that's it, it's gone. So I deliberately don't promote stuff. I've started to do stuff in the Facebook group. Obviously, the YouTube channel is a source of marketing. Um, I've got Google listings that people can search and Google, my stuff comes up on Google. With website stuff, and I've got a little bit of experience with this. I'm not trained in this. There's something called search engine optimization. So if you search for this, it's where you rank.
Yeah.
And I set up a website for a fishing club that I was on the committee of ages ago, and I'd sort of got this idea that I got all these search terms, and if I put a list of search terms together, and I made sure all those terms were sort of 3 pages of that website. So if somebody searched canal fishing Tamworth or canal fishing, because it was in the local area, boom, we'd be up there, at least on the first page. And I knew some guys that just did SEO, that was their business. So,
Yeah.
and they didn't give much away, but they give you the odd pointer. So I was pretty good at doing that. And my SEO, although I haven't sort of gone to town on it, my SEO is quite good. So if people search for certain things, I should hopefully be up there. If you search for one of my suppliers in Holland, I'm actually above them in the rankings. so that type of thing, and then Facebook, Insta, is probably all I've done from a marketing perspective. I did do a few Facebook ads at the start,
Yeah.
but there just wasn't. I wasn't getting enough back. And with Facebook, it's like you could run a 20 quid ad, but if you pay another 20 quid, we'll put that in front of another 100 people. And if you pay another 20 quid, we'll put that in front of another 100 people. So my marketing, apart from what I do myself, has probably been organic growth and word of mouth.
Yeah.
Because I don't advertise.
No.
I could advertise.
Permission detected at the front door.
Sorry, wife's just come back, I think.
It's from the bingo. Yeah, I
Yeah.
found there was a lad I was talking to who said he was running Facebook ads and it was only in the local area and he was paying like so much. And he said a maximum thing. He said he got like 500 quid through his door in one day and he was made up. And then when he sat down, done his books, he was like, well, I've spent 500 quid to make 500 quid.
Yeah.
Because he literally spent 500 quid on Facebook ads to get
I know
500 quid
somebody who's got.
business.
I should speak to him really. I know a guy who that guy who had the fishing tackle shop actually. Somebody torched it. It was burnt out, lost everything, and no insurance payout either. Insurance wouldn't pay him out. And he set up a business making floats, but specialist floats for match fishing anglers, and he's grown massively. He sort of ships all over the world, but he does lots of Facebook advertising that's targeted at fishermen and stuff. But he does loads of it. So I just sort of run generic ads. If I sat down and had a chat with him, if he ever had time, he could probably go through. Well, don't do that. Do this. And at some point, I might run some ads that way again. I've just done a video which is a business advertisement. Scheduled in. I have done a video, yeah. I've done a video just to sort of try and promote what we sell, because we don't just sell shrimp products. It's GB Shrimp and Aquatics. That's the company name. Limited.
See, if I was in your shoes, I'd be plugging everything in my thing. I use this water conditioner and this fertilizer. And
I do that, but I don't want to sort of. I also want to try and use my channel to educate people and grow the hobby. I've always wanted to do that, and by growing the hobby, it the potential is that it grows the business as well.
Yeah.
What I have found is if I do a video on a particular product, not necessarily a product, on a set of products, I tend to sell more of those products in the short term.
Yeah.
So on the Facebook group, somebody put a post up, wasn't asked. It just put a post up, and it like a botanical pod, and it got loads of shrimp over it. And he said, I don't know what this is called. He says, but the shrimp love it. And then tagged me in it as a bit, tagged the business in it. And then the next thing I know, I sold 3 of them that weekend. and like you
Yeah.
might sell the odd one here and there. Do you know what I mean? But then I probably won't sell another one for 6 months.
No. I think that's what my local shop says. Like they'll set up a display tank and they'll have like rainbows in it, and then like you can't stock enough rainbows in the shop, and then they'll change it over to goldfish, and then the rainbows will stop. Like no
And I
one's
sell
like
goldfish.
it's on its tank. So tell us about your the setup costs and stuff. How much
Uh,
realistically
so,
would you be looking to go from hobbyist to online business?
so I know what this room owes me, and that's over 2 years. So
Yeah.
I'd probably set this room up for and put a bit of stock in it for about 13-14K.
Jesus.
And that's doing everything in the room as well. And don't forget, I already had a lot of the tanks and stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But electrics, insulation, plasterboard, paint, lighting. I bought another rack, bought a load of other tanks and stock. Yeah, I probably spent initially about 13K.
Jesus,
And
and that's not even on the tanks.
that's pretty much to get sort of a fully functioning room.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
it's
with stock on the shelves, and obviously, I mean, I don't know if the guys have seen it, but I've got racks down here, and they're quite deep racks, and they're all sort of full of products and stuff. So at the moment, my director's loan's probably around about the 20K mark.
yeah, over 2 years.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dough going into the business, isn't it? Really.
I was hoping it'd start paying some of that money back to me, and I can put it back. I can put it back earning interest, but it's not happened yet.
Business owes you. So when your son inherits it, he'll owe you an absolute fortune.
I want the money off him, yeah. I'm gonna charge him 20 grand to set the business on.
Yeah, it's 20 grand in debt to me.
And I'm probably carrying. I could actually tell you to the penny, but I'm probably carrying about 7 without the livestock. I'm probably carrying 7 grand's worth of stock.
You've got dry goods and stuff, is it?
Yeah.
So you're interested me. Like I find all that like selling that sort of stuff fascinating.
There's challenges. There is challenges. So that initial purchase that I bought, I want 10 packs of this food, I want 10 packs of that food, I want 20 packs of this, 5 bottles of that, 15 bottles of that, which is fine to have on the shelf. But then a year later, and you start looking at use by dates, and you've only sold a third of what you initially bought. So this to me has been one of my biggest challenges, understanding what sells and over what time period. But obviously the only way you're ever going to learn that is with time.
Yeah.
So there's some products now. One of my suppliers where I get some products from, instead of buying a pack, I can buy 3. And I'll only hold 3 of that product on the shelf.
Yeah,
And I mean, the stupid thing is, I've got packs of leaves here, pre-packed leaves from Poland, and they've got a use by date on them. The dried leaves, and it's because of the EU. Anything that's potentially food has to have a use by date on it.
Yeah.
It's pet food. It's categorized as pet food. has to have a use by date on it.
And if it hadn't been put in a packet, it wouldn't be classed as anything. It'd just be a leaf.
I mean, the simple answer is you repackage it in my
Yeah.
own branding. It's a leaf. It's ridiculous.
Motion detected at the front door.
Emptying the bins.
So,
Black bin day.
so Rob said you're absolutely minted. So is it really that profitable?
No.
No.
So I've just done, until I see how the accountant wants to show the figures for the last financial year, I've literally just done the last year's book, the last month of this financial year's bookkeeping, and I spent 1,500 quid more than I took in.
Yeah.
But I bet a lot of that 1,500 quid has gone into doing stuff. So tank resets, new stuff for the room, new pumps, new lighting, or whatever I've changed. That 1,500 quid has probably gone back into the business anyway. I don't take a penny out of this business, not a single penny.
No.
I mean, at best, if I wasn't sort of spending, and I'm probably at that point, but I'm one of those people who I constantly want to sort of improve things, but I'm sort of at that point where if I just bought and sold, I'd probably just be above break even with energy costs and stuff. Because at the moment I'm paying for the energy, but the room is metered.
Yeah.
So that 1,500 quid also includes cost of energy, which I'm not taking. I'm not taking that out of the business. But I could, because I document how many kilowatts the room uses. So when we set the electrics up and put a consumer unit in, we made sure that consumer unit had a kilowatt meter in it.
Good idea, actually. So then you can differentiate between your business and your personal property, then, can't you? So you can
if it was just from home, you're allowed to claim £6 a week of tax relief. But because that's it, £6 a week tax relief. But because it's a completely separate building and it's metered, theoretically, I could invoice the business for the energy it's used each month with a calculation of what my unit rate is. I've lights gone off.
I don't think so.
So I'm sweating because I've knocked the AC off, so you guys don't hear the fan.
Rebecca's brought an interesting conversation up there, saying Facebook groups getting to know the right admins, mods, adverts. I'm not sure reach the right people. Yeah, so I found every time I've done like Facebook adverts, they just get it out there so they can take your money off you, and they kind of show it to someone who might kind of be interested, but then you get they're guaranteed to take all the money off you. They're not just kind of interested in taking the money off you. So,
there's another big Facebook group.
Well, you mentioned about Inkbird, using social media. So Facebook groups and getting to know the right admins, mods, Shopco did that well, and the NC Labs. So I had a Facebook group when Inkbird were kicking off, and everyone who was an admin mod on that group just got round with Inkbird stuff to talk about, and that was just on a Facebook group.
I've seen on another shrimp group where is another well-known YouTuber offered to promote other businesses and social media accounts and YouTube accounts 4 times a month for $25.
Yeah.
So you pay me $25 a month and I'll promote you 4 times a month.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. I'd only promote something if I was passionate about it and I wanted people who support my channel. If I wanted them to know about the product, that's the only time I'd promote something. Do you know what I mean? Not only
Yeah,
for the profit.
yeah, and I'm pretty much the same. So you'll never find me selling a product that I wouldn't use.
Yeah,
And,
that's exactly.
I always said right from the beginning that I'll never sell a plastic plant ever. But if I ever took a shop, I might have to, because if that's what your customers want, and you've got overheads and bills to pay, then what do you do? You know, do you go down the SpongeBob ornaments route to keep
No,
your
never.
business afloat, or not? You know, and
Yeah.
it's
Do you think? I'm only messing when I said no. But like we need to get newbies into the hobby, don't we? And it's like usually like whenever I go in the fish shop, the guy who owns the fish shop's always moaning because the kids have been playing with the SpongeBob ornaments. So, and it's ultimately that's how you get them into the hobby, isn't it? So,
going back to your first question. One of the other reasons that I set the business up was because it was difficult to find one place that sold shrimp only products, if that
yeah,
made sense. There was a couple of little shops, but it was, you know, at one point I could genuinely argue and boast that I'd got the biggest shrimp food selection in the UK from various different suppliers. But as you already know, if you buy loads and loads of food, it don't sell because a pack of shrimp food will last you 6 years. You know what I mean?
talking about ordering food, check out this. I must have pressed like one too many O's when I ordered my fish food. So I thought I'd ordered 100 grams.
Yeah,
That
that's
turned up
that's a,
to be
that's a
a
kilo.
kilogram, not 100 grams. But it's that cheap that you wouldn't know, you know. Like I'm used to paying like 20 quid for a bag of food, and I think that was like 10 quid or something stupid.
I
Just a
do
loaf
I
of.
do things as well. So we did giveaways. When I originally started, I was on the app called Band,
Is
and we'd do like giveaways and stuff. But Band was
is
just
Rob
so toxic.
even Rob?
Hi Rob, but Band was so toxic. I'd had enough, and I wanted peace. So I
Yeah,
quit Band. I quit Band. There was a couple of backstabbers on there who I'd worked with who stabbed me in the back. So it was just, do you stay on there and just keep seeing it every day, or do you leave? And it was just for my own sanity. It was easier to just leave. So I
yeah.
left. It weren't a cowardly thing. It was like, can't be doing with it. Walk away. You know. So we left
Yeah,
Band, and Band was a good. Um, Band wasn't a bad platform to be honest, but the problem with Band is everyone wanted to beg everything.
yeah,
So if the market price for something was 20 quid, they'd offer you a tenner.
yeah.
It was just how it was, you know. And loads of people selling crap, really. Second-hand stuff for charities that was just a way of getting rid of your shit. It was literally just a way of getting rid of the crap that you didn't want
Yeah,
under
yeah.
the guise
Yeah.
under the guise of charity, but a percentage did go to charities, you know. But people were getting, you know, there was all sorts on there. So there was like SpongeBob ornament, one leg, missing eye, little bit faded, 20 quid. You know,
On a dual aquarium, same price
so
as brand new. You don't know whether it's a week old or 20 years old.
oh yeah, and that's Facebook Marketplace. You know,
Yeah,
somebody selling a dual vision 180 in Beach, and it was um, 8 years old, 450. Like you
yeah.
can buy the whole thing for 450. It's brand new.
That's it, isn't it? So I
But
mean,
when
I
they
was
bought
thinking,
it 8 years ago, it might have been 800 quid.
yeah,
So they think they're giving someone a bargain, but without reading the market,
that's the thing. Like, so, like, see, I expect to pay like 180 litre tank like this second hand. I expect to pay a one
Yeah.
second hand. And then there's people around here they're trying to sell them for like 400 quid. So I'll be after the tank. I'll be after it. Say like I've had angels and like the bread and I've got fry and I'm like, right, I need the tank to put the fry in. So I'll
Yeah.
see one on Facebook and I'll be like, I'll give you 100 quid for the tank. And they'd be like, no, I want 450. And I'm like, but the 500 new with the stand. And if I went in and
Yeah.
twisted the guy in the fish shop's arm, he'd take 450 off me second, like for a new one.
Yeah. Because they would, because they want to sell it. Although,
Yeah.
although to be honest, on dual stuff, the markup's tiny.
Yeah.
And I mean tiny.
It's mad, isn't it? I was talking about this
Yeah.
one before, like the fluval and stuff like that. Like prices have gone right up on them, but like the markup that the shop can make is minuscule. So they still want to
Yeah.
push the cheaper stuff because there's a bigger markup on it.
I think it
And
was, if I remember correctly, I think it was either 20 or 22% the markup
yeah, whereas the
on,
likes of
on such a massive
Upon
item.
Solutions, yeah, whereas like Upon Solutions would be about 50%, wouldn't it? Like for a cheaper, it's like we say, like the hobby's going downhill. It's suppliers a lot of the time, isn't it? Like being too
Oh,
greedy and
yeah. And no market, who wants to spend 10 grand on stocking a load of aquariums to make a nice display when the most you're going to make out of them is a couple of grand?
yeah,
With a 10 grand outlay, you'd be better off putting your money in a high rate lock in ISA or something. You know what I mean?
yeah. So, what challenges have we faced along the way, Glenn?
Um, bricks and mortar getting known. People having to do things to sort of try and promote yourself. So I've switched it off actually. But what I used to do was I'd set something up on the website where 5 days after somebody bought something of me, they'd get an email asking them to review the product and the shop.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, they'd get a 10% voucher or something like that. And they're great, and everything was going fine until I had one dickhead, and he bought something. Now I state openly on the front of mine, I don't try and hide my postage costs in the products. I'm pretty open. Postage is postage. If you spend 50 quid with me on anything that isn't classed as a heavy item, I do free postage. I'll take the hit. Do you know what I mean? And that's just to compete with other people. And this
Yeah.
guy he bought something off me, and he left this 1-star review. And the 1-star review said, "Beware. It looks cheap when you buy it, but when you come to postage, you can get it cheaper elsewhere." But I didn't charge him postage after he checked out. It's there. It's there in front of you, like, you know what I mean. So just wound me up a bit, and I switched it off. It's stuff like that. I'm doing something at the moment, and I could bear afford to really, but I did a lot. It was one of my YouTube subscribers who I know. She messaged me and she said this would be a good video. And what we did, I put an advert up on the group, and I said I want to run a thing where I'll send you a free, not sample, a free pack of food, but it'll be something that you're not currently using, and I'll decide what it is. Use it for a month, and the only proviso is that you do a short couple of minute video, and you grade it on 3 specific things.
Everyone's said right in Melbourne in the chat.
And you grade it on 3 specific things. And what my idea was, I think people, and it's quite obvious that a lot of people stick with the product because That's what I've always used. I think we're creatures of habit, and everybody I sent a food parcel to, apart from you, because yours didn't appear. Everybody I sent a
I'm
food,
fuming about that privately. Like,
a
I was
few,
looking forward to that.
I'll send you another one. Everybody I
Sounds like
sent
it's-
a food sample to has. I've still got a couple to come in. There was 8 people, well 7 because you didn't get yours. But there was 5 people have returned the videos. In fact, no, 4 of the 7 have. One of them won't answer my messages at all.
Oh, great.
And but to be fair, she's on and off Facebook anyway. So she's bought stuff off me before, and I'm trying to message her, and she might not answer for a week. So I don't think she sees messages and stuff. I don't think she checks them. I'll chase her again actually. But everybody
Yeah,
of the
okay.
4 have
I was
all
going to say,
said.
if I got it, I'd do a live with you over it. We could sit and talk about the product all day.
But the everybody that's come back has said that's definitely going in my food regime.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
just sent them totally different products, and one of them even said, I mean, the video, I haven't done the video yet. It'll probably be October, but everybody said like I was just gobsmacked by the response to it and how my fish or my shrimp reacted to it.
That's good.
So I got lists off them of what they were currently feeding and what they were using, what they had in the tanks, and sent them something that would fit with what they do. So if they were shrimp keepers, they'd get shrimp food. If they were mixed, I'd choose whether I'm going to send. So one guy, he had he had both. So he had fish and shrimp, and I sent him a product that I thought he'd use for his fish, and he used it for his shrimp, and it blew his mind. He said, "I can't believe what they're like on it." So, but yeah, it'd be good that well. It's the difficult bit is that the video quality and the audio quality are quite. I need to try and balance them as much as I can.
Right.
Try and get the audio up on one of them. I've done my best with it. I can't do any better than that. But yeah, so that'll be a good one. But I'm one of those people who'll sit and I'm one of those people who'll sit and do spreadsheets. I'm going to waive this, and the spreadsheet even I put the spreadsheet together with my postage, and I could ill afford to sort of send out 80 quid's worth of gear out my own pocket, because theoretically that's 60, 70 quid, 60 quid's worth of my own product and shipping. But I did it, and I think you know, with a newish business, you've got to do that to try and drum stuff up, and hopefully from that video, people will go, "I'll give that a try." And if they don't, then I'm 80 quid out of pocket, you know. So that's 1,580 quid I lost last year.
Paul's in the chat from the fish shop. I done the tour off the other week, well, last week, the week before. Evening, Paul.
Hi,
It's
Paul.
nice to see you. And
I mean,
Mike Myers.
Paul's probably got mad overheads as well. I've got my overheads are very small. So my overheads are roughly across the year. The room probably costs me £90 a month in energy. It varies, but as an average, £85 to £90 a month in energy. I've got accountancy fees, which work out to about 50 quid. And other than that, and food, but I'm obviously using my own feeds. I buy the odd fruit fly culture because I've been lazy and I haven't made one. You know, but other than that,
microworms all over the floor.
That's probably my whole expenditure for the month. There is other bits, so I pay for a couple of bits of software to sort of, one of them's for audio, and I've sort of bought a rolling license for an audio library.
Yeah.
Similar to Epidemic Sound, but not as expensive as Epidemic Sound. And
let's just. Whittle is where Steve Ebo UK is building his new store. Yeah, he is. Yeah, I just was talking to him this afternoon about his new shop. So, guys, has anyone got any questions for Glenn in the chat?
Rob said I pay his wages. Do you know Rob used to be one of my biggest customers in the early days, and
Yeah.
I could really juggle money because I knew Rob would spend X amount at the end of each month religiously, and
Yeah.
Rob hasn't bought anything off me for a long time. So I've had to find other income sources other than Rob because Rob's minted.
Bloody hell, Rob.
What's he put?
I was the biggest.
He was the biggest. Rob used to really support me, and even to the point where, as a good friend, I'd always try and give Rob a good discount, and Rob would refuse the discount, saying that you're a business, you can't do that. I want to help you to grow. So Rob was wicked, like, he wanted to pay full price for everything. And I know I'm not the cheapest. But I mean, I think when you first introduced me to Jeff, I think you introduced me you've heard of good customer service, but this guy gives good customer service, and that's
Yeah,
all
like
I've got. That's all I've got.
Everyone
can't
says they
compete on
do
price.
exceptionally well, but they like a lot of it's just average, but make out that it's exceptional. Do you know what I mean? Like just because it turns up. I mean, but not mine did on that video.
I wish I'd have known. I'd have just resent it. But yeah, it's I've had a couple of people. I might have packed the wrong item, and they message me and say, I've got two of those, or I've got one of those, or send it next time. And no, I'll send it. And always at my own cost. If I've made a mistake, I'll put it right every time. Every time.
Definitely.
And it was
That's
like
the thing,
nothing was ever too much trouble.
That's the thing for me with like the hobby and like selling stuff within the hobby. Like I always think like because I'm passionate about the hobby and like the reason why I started on YouTube and Facebook and stuff was because I wanted to get more involved in the hobby. I wanted to get to know because I was just in my shed. Well, at the time, yeah, I just started in my shed, and just before that, I've been in like little fish room, and it was quite quiet on the Whittle. Like there wasn't many other fish keepers that were like until I found Paul's group, and they're all kind of expanded for me. I met State, who Rebecca's just been talking about. She's opened the shop. Right, Paul, how are we, mate? Like his Facebook group, one of my favorite Facebook groups. His group, the Warstag group, and then my group's starting to get there now. So
I think the question about marketing is probably the most critical.
yeah,
I and
I think it's too modest.
this isn't a joke.
No,
If I do 20 orders a month, that's all I do.
yeah,
If I do 20, but it's weird. You could sort of go a week with none and get 4 orders in one day.
is FM
But
evening FM?
historically, these couple of months are quiet anyway.
Yeah,
Because
some
people are spending money on holidays and getting, buying uniforms for the kids for school. And then historically, September, October sort of pick up again.
yeah,
And then it's a bit busy towards Christmas, or it goes quiet towards Christmas and busy in January.
yeah.
People spending a bit of Christmas money and stuff.
Summer
But yeah,
season,
marketing
summer's
is
bomb
massive.
season. Rebecca's saying. See, I found a lot of the bigger shops complain that last year the pond season just didn't move.
That's all.
No,
But would that have been weather?
I don't know. I just remember a lot of them saying online because a lot of the like we've got some big players, haven't we, in our area? We've got Finest, got
Yeah,
Premier.
yeah.
A lot of the bigger shops were saying, and we've got Koi division on the Whittle, and a lot of them were saying like they just didn't have a pond season, which is
Yeah,
strange.
outdoor gardening. I think a lot of it is, and I could be wrong, cost of living. Cost of living's gone up massively, and are people buying necessities for the hobby rather than frivolities for the hobby? So
Yeah.
are people buying food instead of food and something else? You know, just as an example. But yeah, if I do 20 orders a month, that's all I do
Yeah.
across the month. 15 to 20 orders average. A good month
Yeah.
would be 25. I need 25 a day, really. Do you know something? Even 25 orders a week would be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
But
I think
it's fickle. If I've got a product that's 10 pence cheaper somewhere else, they'll go there.
see, that's the problem, isn't it? And like the search engine AI now, when I search for something, it'll tell me if it's cheaper somewhere else. But then like the small retailers are buying for the same price the biggest selling for. So the
Yeah,
smaller ones, so it's turning into a monopoly. And this
yeah,
AI chat is creating this monopoly because, like, I've seen stuff that I've searched for, and straight away it's like it's cheaper on Amazon.
yeah.
So
If
how are
it's
you supposed
cheap,
to compete with that?
if it's cheaper on Amazon, it's well cheap.
And what I've heard is with Amazon, say like your retail business, so say you set up on Amazon, and you were selling like I don't know like a water conditioner, and then people were ordering off you religiously every week. Then Amazon's like algorithm, if you like, will go, well, we're selling that. We'll just go to the company who make the um water conditioner. We'll buy it in bulk and we'll sell it cheaper, and then you just cut you out. So
Yeah,
you've created them. Like that's
yeah, yeah.
naughty. Then like
You've created the market, and they've stolen it.
yeah, and you've been paying them for the novelty of selling on their thing. So it's not like they're not. AI makes up so much rubbish, doesn't it? And it's not awesome. Like
I saw
see,
something today that made me laugh. Before we work on artificial intelligence, we should work on natural stupidity.
yeah, that's I don't know. Like I've given up on trying to educate some people. I think I like,
Um,
I'm like
well, they say you can't polish one, but you can roll it in glitter and make it sparkle.
so I only go cheaper for Rapacci's. Rapacci is extortionate. I always send a review for the cheaper ones. I understand why it's for ingredients. So I absolutely love Rapacci. I don't even know where it sells it at the moment. I've been buying it. I haven't bought it for a while. I bought the Dandy Random stuff last. But I used to use the Soylent Green, and I ordered the I think Melbourne is AI.
Well, that
The Elbra.
that was one of the things I tried to do. So I started off with a product that somebody else was selling,
Yeah,
and he said you can sell it at whatever you want, dearer than me, cheaper than me. I'm not bothered. But the margins were so small on it, I had to realistically stick to what he was selling it for to even make a bean. You know what I mean? And
yeah. I use
as I started getting other products, what I've tried to do is find products that either no one sells or I can compete with what other people sell. So whereas one of the not necessarily the bigger ones, but a more well-known online shrimp store, where they're selling a product for X, I'll just sell a different product because I wouldn't sell that product to break even. It's pointless. They say you can be busy, but you can also be a busy fool as well.
yeah. That's what like I don't know whether you know, Glenn, but I used to have an industrial cleaning company about nearly 20 years ago now when I was a young
Yeah,
whippersnapper, and I was a business mentor who'd like run businesses that were worth millions. And part of my like business agreement thing was because I got like a startup thing was that this business mentor, and I was pricing all the jobs up, and he come out to see me on site one day, and he said, "How many people say no to your quote?" And I said, "No one. Everyone says yeah." And he said, "Well, next time, right, go out, give the quote, times it by two, and it in." He said, and then see how many people say no. So we've done that, and he said to me the next time, he said, how many people said no? I said about half, and he said, no, your prices are right. He said, because you're a busy fool. He said, everyone's making more money than you doing half the
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. So yeah, that was what I've done, and I've sort of just tried to sort of diversify on product,
Yeah.
and I've managed by doing that to push my margins up slightly to when I
Last
first started.
Paul's saying koi was very slow this year and last year.
Oh yeah, this year.
Paul's, I said on the video, Paul's the only person on the Whittle I know of that sells Rapashi. I need to go down and buy some Rapashi off him. If you ever see any videos I make with Rapashi, I just keep saying Rapashi over and over again. It's like I love saying Rapashi. It's like I'm plugging it. Deep koi, I'm selling 3 times as many koi. That's the stuff, yeah. Soil and green, I absolutely love that stuff.
I don't
You
sell it.
stop that one. You don't sell it.
No.
Well, you need to start selling it because I love saying Rapashi. So I'll just say it all the time. So Glenn
I
sold
can't.
Rapashi.
I don't know any. None of my suppliers sell it,
No,
and from what I can gather, a lot of people went away from it because the margins were too small.
yeah, I've heard that. But that's what Paul was telling me in the shop. He sells it for because that's what people want with the pleco. So, and if they come in, they'll buy something else as well. So,
I think if
Paul's a big
I think if I
hobbyist.
had a bricks and mortar, I fully understand that. It's like the selling the milk cheap to get you into a supermarket. You know what I mean? I fully understand that.
Yeah,
You know, you don't make so much on this product, but in a bricks and mortar, there's a good chance we all do it. We go into a fish shop and we're just going to buy one thing, and we come out with carrier bags. Do you know?
it's interesting. Like I'm getting sidetracked because like everyone's got like hobby inside, like business insights in the chat, and I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. That's a bit of juicy stuff. Evening glass box diaries. But I'd
So
say like
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how he sort of puts the account.
yeah,
First year, I want to see the balance sheet really. First year, we made a little bit of profit, but we moved a lot of stuff into stock and into fixtures and fittings. Um, this year, I think there'll be more into fixtures and fittings, less in stock, but a smaller break even.
yeah. So the thing that gets me, Glenn, is like a lot of your stuff must go straight into fish keeping as well.
Yeah, I sell fish products.
Yeah. So
I
we need
sell
to be promoting that, don't we?
I sell internal filters. They're only Hugo Commissi ones, but I sell internal filters, heaters, a couple of different brands of heaters, not the Eheims.
I love Diggy.
Loads of fish foods. I sell most of the Aquadip range of water conditioners, plant fertilizers, green water treatments, liquid carbon. And you notice I said liquid carbon, not CO2.
Yeah.
Filter start loads of that stuff. I stock it. I don't
We
sell
need to
loads of
start.
it, but I do stock it.
We need to start pushing. Do you
I
import and
mean,
all?
my fish food range, and I'll tell you what, this is what I sell some API stuff. So I've got Pimafix, Melafix, White Spot Cure, Vogel. So it's some easy life products. But my fish food range, I've got mini catfish pellets. I've got guppy mini granules. So they're slow sinkers. Spirulina granules, color granules. That's what you were supposed to have. Color flakes, tropical flakes, color granules, sticky food tablets, algae wafers.
FM saying nice socks.
The stripies, yeah.
You know what I
Snail
think?
trap.
You know what I
Loads
think?
of
I'm at a point in life now where I can like shamelessly wear Crocs.
Black water extracts, fulvos, JH, KH mineral, loads of different shrimp minerals, activated carbon, filter medias, so different, like I've got balls and cylinders, glass cleaning stuff, loads
I
of
reckon I'm the,
botanicals, tetratabimine, crystal clear water, algasol.
that's what I'm on about, Rebecca. I'd love to rock around my fish room in my Crocs. I haven't got any Crocs, but like I'm gonna
I've
shamelessly buy some.
I've took my trainers off because my feet. I've got sciatica going through my feet.
Oh,
Excel CO2 indicator. Some Seachem products. I've got aquascaping tools. I've got air stones, air bars, filters, magnets, scrapers, airline, some hardscape. So bits of the difficulty with this for an online shop is driftwood, because people want to pick it, see it. I sell a bit of dragonstone. I sell by weight, lava rock, test kits, GH, KH, PH test kits, loads of stuff, different medias, air pumps, soils,
definitely.
sands,
Do you
fluorite.
sell it? Do you sell like Hugo Comiti stuff?
Yeah.
Do you sell the black stuff?
What's it called?
The black. It's in the house. The black, like small gravel, like 3 mil gravel.
No, because I haven't got much space for heavier products, and shipping
Yeah.
it's expensive. I do sell though fluorite black, Seachem fluorite black, which is similar.
Glassbox. Glenn Glassbox Diaries is asking, sorry if it's already been mentioned, will GB Shrimp stock other colours of Neo Caradina? Only seeing cherry grade and fire red on there, but looking to get another 4 shrimp tanks in a month or two.
Um, I've got, but I'm breeding the colonies up. So at the moment, I've got a few blue jelly that I'm currently literally a dozen of them to try and start a colony. Got rid of the oranges. I've got the fire reds and the cherries, and some green jades that I started with 10. I've counted about 30 in there today, but I won't start selling from them until I've got 50, 100 plus. I need to move them into a bigger tank. They're only in a small tank. I need to do a Jeff here.
Yeah, like that. Jeff, when does your magnifying glass, will you?
Yeah, from a bricks and mortar, it's viable. But if you're, I think if you're maybe, I think if you're an online shop, people tend to sort of just buy what they want. Just if they
Yeah.
want one item, they'll just buy one item. Bizarrely, this £50, spend £50 and get free shipping on anything other than soils, really, that are classed as heavy items. So if soils in your basket doesn't count. I've only ever had one person in a year of doing that actually select free shipping. So most of my sales are under, not all of them, most of them are under 50 quid, or people don't want free shipping, they want next day or track 24.
I
Because
think,
when you go
I think we need to
when you
start
go
plugging in stuff a bit more, Glenn.
when you go to check out, you get sort of a default shipping option, and then you can choose curbside collection, stuff. Like I've got one customer who always comes here, and I've had a couple of people message me, "Oh, I've got a sick axolotl. Can I come and pick up some Indian almond leaves off you Sunday afternoon?" Yeah, of course you can. So yeah, it's for me. I expected to be a lot further forward after 2 years than I am.
Yeah, I can.
I'm barely covering bills here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do spend on other stuff. So I'll buy some frogs to do a YouTube video on and a terrarium. Do you know what I mean? But the business is paid for that. In fact, paid for them last frogs myself.
Rob, I'm trying to set up a meeting with Glenn and Grant from Eda, Garden of Eda. That'll be interesting, Glenn. You should do that with Glenn, with Jeff and Grant. I'm getting confused, Jeff, Glenn, and Grant. That'll be a cool live stream. That. I like Grant. And you?
I mean, the guy asked about Neos. When I had all my tanks in the house, I had Neos galore, and then I went into Caradina, and I didn't want to have any Neos in here, but I knew from a business perspective, I'd have to, because the majority of people keep Neos. But I've got fire reds here, and they are fire reds.
Yeah,
they're fire reds. Rob's got some, and I had this guy buy 20, but by 20, or I can't remember what 10 or 20, and selected collection. So I messaged him. So when do you want to come? Arrange for a time for him to come. And I've got the email. I should promote it really. I should publish it. And he actually said, I thought these were just cherry shrimp. Them are top grade. And I went, yeah, I know. He says what I've paid for 10 of them. He said I couldn't buy 10 in a shop. Crap cherries, washed out cherries. He said I couldn't get 10 for that price.
No,
but I understand that bricks and mortar have got overheads. I get that. One of my LFSs charges, I think, for just washed out cherry shrimp, I think he charges $7.95 a shrimp, or 3 for 20 quid.
bloody hell. No one's charging anywhere near that on the Whittle that I know of.
And I went in when I was keeping lots of Neos. I went in to try and see if he'd buy them off me, like a quid each or something. You know what I mean? And he says, "What you want money for them?" And I went, "Well, what else would I want?" He says, "Well, most people just bring them in because they've got too many." And I actually says to him, "So they give them you, and you're charging $7.95 each for them."
That's ridiculous.
I'm gonna try and fish shop tour of his shop.
There's a company I know of that, and Rebecca knows who I'm talking about. But they sell exclusively goldfish, and they sell them as high grade goldfish. And like I'm a member of all the Goldfish Society, so one of them were like, oh, he turns up at the shows and buys all this, at the auctions and buys all the stuff that's left over, and then says that's from Japan and China. And I was like, wow. That's
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to beat up on local fish shops at all. That's not what I'm about. It's just I know what I can import them in for.
Yeah.
And it's there's overheads and there's overheads. And if someone's giving them you and you're still charging £7-8 each, just a bit of a piss take,
What's up, strange people?
So yeah, it's not the bed of roses I thought it was going to be, but it keeps my hobby alive.
Yeah.
I'm to the point where, and I'll openly admit this, the reason I got into isopods was because they don't take up a lot of room. I can breed them. If I sell the isopods that I breed, that's pretty much pure profit. And that money can be reinvested back into the shrimp business because the shrimp business isn't profitable, or it breaks even.
Yeah.
So I can buy
Well, then,
higher grade shrimp and stuff, you know.
see, the thing is, like, it's like the thing that's crossing my mind consistently is the fact that, like, 90% of the people in the chat are fish keepers, and you've got fish keeping products on the shelf. So, like, for me, I like feel like we should all be pushing the fish keeping stuff for you as
Wait,
part of our
wait,
hobby.
wait till I do this video of these
Unless you've done the whittle, then go and see Paul.
these this video where I gave out free food as a trial, different food to what people were using. It'll probably flop the video world. You know what I mean? But it was a really interesting experiment because everybody that had that food that was different to what I had said I'm definitely going to be adding that to my rotation. And it wasn't because they had it free and they were doing me a favour. They were genuine about it, and you can actually see the result. You know, I don't know if Charlotte's in the chat, but Charlotte was one of the people, and she was astounded at the food that I sent her. I mean, astounded. There was stuff coming out to eat it that she hadn't seen in years, type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Madness.
And I'm limited for space here as well. If it had if it grows to the point where it can support overheads of a place, then I'd definitely look into probably putting something together. But I'm not in the position I was last, not this January, the January before, because I haven't got disposable income.
No.
I've got no income. There's no income. Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
the business needs to get its big boy pants on, doesn't it, and get generating cash.
Be nice.
Just like I say, for me, I think like what we should be doing is pushing your fish keeping stuff. Like, because there's loads of us from the UK here, and we'd like, you know, I just
Rob
feel
does.
like
Rob promotes it.
I know. So, well,
Rob's been an absolute diamond, to be honest.
I use this in my Wallstad tank I got off you. There's like most of the stuff I'm using in my fish rooms off you. There's what
See,
else have I got
even that, you see that shrimp baby feed?
on this? Yeah, like
That shrimp
no,
baby feed will feed fry.
yeah,
And if you look at the formulation on it, it's brilliant.
yeah.
I bought some. I mean, I know they're only endless, but I bought some endless
I
to
love
deal with
endless. Like this, comes to me.
the
Everyone
seed
needs.
shrimp problem, and they've
I think
I've
everyone
put,
needs a life there in the fish room. Like,
they've ended up
especially if you want.
in one of my Neo tanks, and I didn't realise that there was a female in there. Just never even thought about it. I thought they were all male, and needless to say, I've ended up with Endler fry. I feed that exact same shrimp food to my Endler fry,
What's
the
fry
baby shrimp
food?
food, the
Well
baby
done, man.
shrimp food.
This one.
Yeah, so they do two sizes. They do a size of grain. So they do a
Yeah,
newborn and a juvenile. And the
yeah.
only difference is one's ground really fine and one isn't. So I mean, baby enders are tiny. They'll eat that. They eat that. That's what they've been fed today.
That's great for baby rainbows as well. I've got burst bites and I've got this stuff, and I found like this stuff will sit on the surface and it floats down.
Yeah, it's really
And
fine. That one.
yeah,
Creates like a
like
slick on the surface.
yeah, and when the rainbows are like they're like little eyelashes, aren't they? They're like little really thin eyelashes when you first see them, and You were there for ages, nibbling away. K-Dubs Angels, good evening.
Hiya.
Yeah, so like, as I say, I'm constantly using your stuff, aren't I? So it's all around me, so I should be plugging it more, to be fair.
Oh, I just missed a message in there. I think it was about orange neos and saying
Yeah,
that they're all struggling with the colours. They're a really difficult colour. That
I
they're
think
not. No, I'm going to turn my AC on, guys. I'm 26 degrees in here, and I'm absolutely sweltering. And it should be
Red
22. But yeah, that's why I got rid of my oranges, because I just don't have the time to constantly keep on top and call that colony until I'm getting no wilds and no washouts. It just wasn't, and bizarrely, I know green jades are one of the hardest ones.
yeah,
I've doubled the size of the colony from when I first had it, and there's been one in there that's still decent, but it's not solid like the others. But it's still a good green jade. But the others are proper top class, and so you know what, 10%, I could live with 10%.
you know what's mad? I seem to like all the colours that no one else is into, like the chocolate rose, the green jade, and the oranges.
Yeah, I think if you get a decent colony, mine were terrible. They didn't breed very well. They and when they bred, I was getting sort of broken colour
Yeah,
in a lot of them. So it might just be sort of original genetics and bloodstock where I got them from. But it's the same guy that I have my fire reds from. So he does know what he's doing, but I just imagine that he just probably had enough of the oranges and never kept on top of them. Yeah, you get. I say mine were probably doing 20% that were acceptable out of a
yeah.
batch of young. They're
To be honest,
absolutely terrible.
when I talk to you, Glenn, I find like it fascinates me. Like I grew up this big colony, and I watch other people on YouTube growing up big colonies of shrimp. But then, like when I watch people like you and Rob, who start off with a small colony and they just keep it small, but they're working up the grade. I that fascinates me more. Or starting off with like a mishling and separating out and then breeding up the grades.
I,
Do you know what I mean?
I've selected. I've got a boa male that I've had in a breeder box for 4 weeks.
Yeah,
I've selected two very high grade touching boa females that were both buried, but obviously not by the boa. So I made the decision to put them all in the breeder box so that when they do drop, it'll be the boa that nails one of the females. And
yeah.
then once they've dropped the berries, all three of them will go in the tank, and it'll literally be one male, two females. That was it. I'll start that colony with just those three shrimp.
Is that
Years ago,
interesting?
I wouldn't have even contemplated that until I tried in this tank down here. I selected 7 shrimp, and I made a mistake of not closing the weir off properly, and 3 shrimp went over the weir on the breeder and dried
Yeah.
out on the condensation tray. So I ended up starting a colony with four shrimp. I put a short video out midweek. It's about 50 seconds, and I think the video is called From 4 to 100, because those 4 shrimp turned into 100 shrimp. And there's some really nice looking shrimp in the babies.
That's did you say that was your pure red line? That you done that with?
Yeah, I put them. I had 7 left, and I put them in a breeder box to reset a tank, so that somebody was going to come and take the somebody was going to come and take the 7 away, and then the 7 become 6, the 6 became 5. Then they had a load of babies, and the 5 became 4 with loads of babies. And the tank that I'd set, I decided to keep them, moved them into that tank. Lost 2. They were probably just old,
Yeah.
but all of a sudden they decided to breed. I've done it with colonies of isopods. So isopods that are like £100 for 5. I've bought 5, struggled to keep them, ended up with 1, but that one's great. And then because they're in my conditions, I've got my Ember bees that I can see 4 generations in there, and they're like between £80 and £100 for 5 of them.
Yeah.
And I've sort of started. Rob said something to me that I thought was really good, and it's you're off starting with a couple of quality shrimp, then starting with a pile of mediocre shrimp if you want to breed for quality.
That's what you keep saying to me.
And
Like you said, you'll literally start with 2 shrimp.
I'm always like, got to start a colony with 20 shrimp. Got to start a colony with 20 shrimp. I've proved that you can start a colony with 4, and I'll be doing 3 soon. Theoretically,
Yeah.
you need a male and a female. That's all you
That's
need.
it. Yeah.
And she could have 20, 30 young, and then 75 days later she's got another 20, 30 young, and you're pushing that genetic back into itself. So you said your F3 and your F4 generations will start to stabilize whichever genetic you leave in there.
I was talking to the way you were saying that about 20 or 30 shrimp. I always look at this, like, you don't get it as much now, but like about a year ago, maybe, or maybe 2 on YouTube, everyone was like, I started a colony with 10 shrimp. How many did I have 60 days later? And you're like, 10 times 20 equals, like, it's not hard to figure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the difficult bit is, and more so with Caridina than Neo Caridina, is juvenile survival.
Yeah.
And the key to juvenile survival is green wall algae, loads of biofilm, places to hide. Simple as that.
Well, I always tell you, don't I, about the time where I had like 3 tanks, the ones that are down here on my windowsill in the living room, and I couldn't get the babies to survive. And then one day, like, algae started growing, and like I was doing, you know what Mark Shrimp Tank says, where he said put powdered goldfish food and the biofilm will grow. Well, I didn't get biofilm grown. I got algae grown because it was in a window, and then I had this big ball of algae in the middle of the tank, but it was absolutely surrounded in baby shrimp, and I couldn't get the shrimp to grow until I had this ball of algae.
Okay,
And
yeah.
my missus she always says to me, "Do you remember the shrimp cloud in that tank over there?" And she just told it.
They're
Yeah,
scavengers. They eat 24 hours a day.
you know what it looked
They
like? It looked like Cheeto. Looked like a big ball of Cheeto.
Wicked.
Oh, Rob's offering a. Are you having a cheat? Are you having a feast or a Magnum, Rob?
Is having a Snickers.
Yeah, Snickers ice cream.
Nutty and brown.
Oh, yeah. So, like for me, I think like we should all be pushing your an online company more. But I think you
They
need
say
to.
that they say that a business takes 2 or 3 years to get established.
Oh, it takes 10.
I've genuinely this year more than the previous year. I've contemplated shutting it down.
Yeah, well, you can't do that. See, what
I
you
have
need to do.
contemplated.
what you need to do, there, Glenn, is I'm reading Jeff's message. Is you need to educate us on what you've got, and then we can start banging on about it as well.
But I sent you the video, didn't I?
Which one? You sent me
The
a lot of
little,
videos.
the little advertising one.
I think so. Yeah, yeah. Because I
Yeah,
critiqued it, and I like.
I've changed it. I've
Have you?
added more. I've added more text and stretched it a bit. Yeah.
That's what you need to do. We need to you need to drum it into everyone who supports your channel, and then we can start banging on saying, "Well, Glenn does that, and Glenn does this."
What scares me with it is I do want to grow on YouTube because obviously it reaches a bigger audience. It
Yeah,
helps me to market, but I think there's a fine balance between how much you push stuff and people like, "Oh, I'm sick of watching this channel. I'm going to unsub," And my plan with it with YouTube is if I ever monetize YouTube, it will be solely to improve YouTube and be reinvested back into this business.
yeah.
I'm not on YouTube to take anything for myself. It'll be for growth. 100% it'll be for growth.
See, for me, YouTube's all about like connecting with all like everyone who's in the chat, yourself. Do you know what I mean? That was my goal in YouTube, but also like to promote stuff I'm passionate about to these people. Like, I don't know, like for me, like I love the hikers for like I like Rob saying he's having problems with this, but then I've seen like people saying, well, hiker are listening and they're fixing these problems. If a company's listening, because I'm like, they're putting out a full spectrum LED for about 70 quid, which is roughly on par with the Fluval 3.0, which is
Yeah.
like 300 quid for the same light. Now, if we can't do ramp ups and ramp downs the same way, well, I know it does, but like I'm just using an example. All right, does that make it? You can buy two for the price of the Fluval. So for me, it's a cracking budget line to get into because people are like, people want to get into plants, and I'm like, get yourself a hiker. Do you know what I mean?
Let me find something. Um, Let me find something. See that?
Yeah.
Ramp up and ramp down. As long as it's got that fitting in your light, that's a ramp up and ramp down timer. At about 20 quid. They're under 20 quid.
So you could get them for a light.
Yeah, if you buy a 70 quid light,
Yeah.
that's comparable with a couple of £100 light, for the sake of spending 20 quid on a ramp up and ramp down timer. I've actually got this on my frog terrarium, so I don't scare the frogs. So, and all I've got over my terrarium are Nicrew lights.
Yeah.
And the plant growth's amazing.
Yeah. I had
If you see any questions aimed at me, just shout them out because I'm blind. Can't see them.
Okay, well, yeah.
Even with the actually the varifocals are all right.
Yeah, so if there's any questions for Glenn, see, I won't promote those all pond solution lights that what you call
Too
them?
bright.
ND Fish Tanks was banging on about them. They're
Too bright.
And they're the wrong colour spectrum for me.
Too
Like,
bright, yeah.
I can't stand blue lights because
They're proper. I've got them. I've used them. The PLEDs, pleds,
Yeah.
pled 40s, pled 60s, pled 80s. I use them on some shrimp tanks, and I don't mind growing algae. That's the whole point. But there's algae, and there's like a tank full of cabbage. Do you know what I mean? There was algae galore. Oh, you went off then.
I think it does this with me and Rob.
Audio's gone funny.
Yeah, I don't. It opens too. I don't know how to. I think if I close this one, I think it'll just kick us.
Audio's gone mad. I can hear myself.
Yeah, but you can't hear me.
You're like garlicky.
I don't know whether if I close this now, I don't know whether it ends the someone said it duplicates it for some reason.
Is it better for me to leave and come back?
Yeah, try that.
2 seconds.
Right, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know whether I still sound dodgy. But it's only I'm a minute on. Just tell me what the audio and stuff's like. Echoing.
Hello.
Am I still the same, Glenn?
Yeah, it's still the same.
Yeah, I don't know whether
I think. Oh, you weren't using a mic, were you?
no. If I put my mic on, like it kills all the audio to the stream. Like it goes back now. It's my side. So
Okay.
okay.
Let me try something. What's that like? I've took my mic off. Still echoing.
I don't know whether to log out or what, but then it'll just kill the stream, won't it? It's done this. This is my third live. It's done it on now.
Try muting and unmuting, okay?
Let me end this and see what's going on.
Still the same.